Look at the first video on accounting for partnership deed. Okay, now this is an example where we are going to see that if there is no partnership deed which exists between the partners, then in that case, how are we going to allocate the profits, whether interest is payable, whether salary is payable to the partners? So A, B, and C are partners in a firm which does not have a partnership deed. Now the basic rule is that in case there is no partnership deed, then it is the provision of the Indian Partnership Act 1932 which applies. So we will need to see each of these examples in light of the fact as to whether or not what the claim the partners are making is correct. A has contributed more capital than the other partners and demands interest on capital at 12% per annum and share of profit in the capital ratio. But B and C do not agree with him. Now, insofar as, let's first take the share of profit part, right? In case there is no partnership deed and there is no specific mention as to how the partners are going to share the profits have to be shared equally. What that means is that the claim of A that he should be paid in the ratio of his capital cannot be accepted, right? The second one is regarding interest on capital. Again, if there is no partnership deed, then there is no interest on capital which has to be paid to a partner. And therefore, the claim of A that he should be given more interest on the capital is wrong. B works full-time on business and demands a salary of 15,000 per month, but A and C do not agree to it. Again, in terms of the provision of the Partnership Act, if there is no partnership deed, there is no salary which has to be paid to any of the partners, and therefore the claim of B that he should be paid salary cannot be accepted. C demands interest on loan of rupees 60,000 at market rate of interest, which is 10% per annum. Now here, according to the provision of this Partnership Act, if the interest has to be paid, now interest which has to be demanded and is being considered is on a loan. It is not on capital, which is the case with A. The interest on loan, if there is no provision to the contrary, has to be given at 6% per annum. So if he demands an interest at 10%, that cannot be accepted, but 6% on 60,000, which comes to 3,600, is something which can be paid to C. Net profit before taking into account any of the above claims amount to 60,000. Now, I told you that the profit which has to be shared is the profit which has to be shared equally, right? But is it that the profits which is to be shared is to be 60,000? The answer to that will be a no. The profit which has to be shared is the net profit. Even though there is no interest on capital which is to be paid, even though there is no salary which has to be given to B, there is an interest of 3,600 which is to be given to C on his loan. Therefore, before arriving at the profit which has to be distributed equally, you need to reduce this amount. Not only this amount, any other amount which might be legitimately deductible has to be deducted, and whatever is the number which is left after this, that is to be shared equally amongst all the partners. So if I have to summarize for you, the first thing is no interest on capital. Second, the distribution of profit has to be equal. Of course, when we talk about profit, it has to be the net profit. Third, no salaries to be given. Fourth, the interest on loan, not on capital, has to be given at 6% per annum, even though the market rate of interest may be high.